Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaimin, and I'm student of class 12th. Today, we all have gathered here to debate on a very interesting and an amazing topic, which is about the sports. That sports should be made compulsory in the school for all class students or not. I strongly believe in this thing that sports must be made compulsory and mandatory in the school for the students of all classes. And I have so many reasons to prove myself right and correct. So let's begin with the childhood. A child is said to be like a clay that which can be given any shape, and if it is put under sunshine, it will be more stronger. So that sunshine is the sports. If a child is given a sport like a subject as a mandatory subject, so of course he will be of course more fit, healthier, and his growth and development will be strong, and of course it would be very healthy for him. Not only because of this thing, in school, of which age student go between 5 to 16, and we all know that between these ages we face a lot of changes in our body, like mental changes are there, physical changes are there. So in that case, of course, we need to be healthy and more healthy, and sports can play a great and an important role in that thing. And so many people believe in this thing that in sports you don't have a career. I think that they do not watch sports. That's why they claim this thing. But I want to say that in India, there are so many sports, cricket, and even in the Olympics as well, like football. I mean, and there are so many uncountable games are there. You can go and make a career in that. Many people say that it is only Neeraj Chopra who brought the gold for India. So I ask you that in field of education, always do you become a doctor or an IAS officer or a prime minister? Do you always become? No, you don't become. You start doing any private or government job. So why can't you do the same thing in sports as well? And the next thing I would like to say to my opponent that whatever the claim or the things you have to say about the sports, you can say.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sana, and today we all are having a thrilling debate on a very amazing and interesting topic that is all about the sports. That sports should be in the schools or not. Are these sports really necessary for all the students or not? So, I oppose these sports because I think so. Sports are really not necessary for all the students. And I have several reasons to prove this thing that why sports are not necessary, why sports should not be in the schools. So my first and the biggest reason which makes me say this thing that sports are not good is less career options. As my opponents have already said this thing that there are also career options in the sports. I know there are career options but less. You know what, if you go once in the sports line, so there are very less chances to get succeeded in the sports line. So this is the matter in the sports. As she has already told the example of Neeraj Chopra. Besides him, many more people are also there who have made career, but very less. In this vast country, India, only countable people made the career on the international level in the sports line. Means in the Olympics, only one person won the gold in Olympics. So this is what is the reason, and this is what I want to make everyone understand here, that why sports are not necessary. Because if there are no scopes and there are less career options in the sports, so why should we waste our time in it? Why shouldn't we focus on studies? We all must have heard that line that education is the only weapon to change the world. We all know this thing. So why shouldn't we focus on our study, and why should we focus on our sports and all? I have seen this thing in the schools that students go there to gain the knowledge and to become something in their life and to get succeeded in their life. But what happens there? They find their sports in the schools and they engage in the sports and they start thinking to make the career in sports line. But who is there to tell those innocent students that do not play with your career and do not play with your future? Just you are going to waste your time, just you are going to waste your future and career, because only by the books and by the study you can make your career. So that's what I want to make understand here. And my opponents were also saying about the health, that we can also be healthy. And she was saying about the childhood, that a child is trained to play in the sports line, so he or she will be healthier, and it will keep them mentally and physically fit. So for here I want to say, if you really want to be healthy and mentally physically fit, so just do yoga, do exercise regularly, do walking, do running. So these kind of things you can do at your home, and you can play besides your study, you can play it or you at your home, but it is not mandatory to be sports in the schools. That's what I want to say, and now you can say.
Secondly, I would like to give an example of a car. Suppose if a car is kept in a garage for a long time, can you really believe that it will be working well? It will get rust, nothing more than it. Same and the similarly, this is the case with the students. If students are they just keep sitting on their benches for a long time, they will be rusting on them. And can you really say this thing that a rusted student can develop a country? Can make and can bring development in a country? Of course not. My dear opponent gave a saying that education is the only weapon to fight with the world or to develop a country. I want to say this one thing, more thing here, that when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. But when health is lost, everything is lost there. Because if you do not have a good health, how will you live? How will you study even then? If you are mentally not fit, if you are physically not fit, so how can you say that yet you can develop a country? You were saying about the education, that education is the only way. I don't believe in this thing. In the data, in a survey, the person who has the highest IQ level, he never got education. He is a very socialized person, and it is only the sports which teaches you that how to be socialized, how to do a teamwork, how to bring a team spirit, how to bring a leadership in you. It all teaches you the social activities, but education, I would say, it never teaches. She was saying that in a worst country like India, you cannot make your career. Somewhere I try to agree with her. The country is worst, but the sport, the thing on which we are debating, that is not worst. So make your country more and more and more better, but do not say that sports are not good. You can go in another country if you are rich or you can afford. So you can go there and you can make your career in that. And lastly, to sum up all the things, the fact and the truth is that of course, sports are really an essential thing for the students, especially, and for the normal people as well. So we should do this thing, and it should be made compulsory and mandatory in the schools. Thank you.
Should I start, sir? So she was saying about the wealth and health, that if wealth is lost, so nothing will happen. If health is lost, then everything will happen. So I also said to her that do not lose your health. Do not be lost your health. I said do yoga, do exercise. It is the responsibility not only for a student. It is the responsibility of all the people to be healthy, like to do yoga, to do exercise in early morning. It is the responsibility of the people. So there, I don't think so that only sports are mandatory. So now I would like to tell the second thing which makes me say this thing, that sports are not good and sports should not be. That is lack of guidance. You know what? I would like to clear this thing by taking an example of a movie of Amir Khan, Dangal. There is a movie of Amir Khan, Dangal. In that movie, Amir Khan grooms her daughter to win on the international level. But just for 1 second, suppose that if Amir Khan, means if those two girls had not had the father like Amir Khan, means that who had the knowledge of wrestling, who had the knowledge to give the guidance to his daughters, if they had not had the father like him, so how would they have been succeeded? Because it mostly happens in our society that there are very less people who can give us guidance. Who will give us guidance? Our teacher? Not, of course not. Our parents? Our siblings? Of course not, because so many people do not have the knowledge regarding the sports. But if I talk about the studies, so in the studies we can take any type of guidance from our teachers, from our schools, and from anywhere we can take guidance. So by clearing these all things, in conclusion I say this thing, only one thing I would like to say here, that Sports are really not mandatory and must not be in the schools. And nothing more and nothing less I would like to say. And now I finish my speech while thanking to all the people who are listening me. Thank you so much.